Thank you, Colleen. And thank all of you for being here today to join in what I hope will be the first of many conversations between education and the business world. I'm a hybrid because long before I ever dreamed of being a teacher, I was a banker. And so that 13-year career in banking kind of sets me up for this today, which is a good thing. Business and education have to break down any walls that have been built between the two. And they have to work together with one common goal: preparing our students to be able to fill the needs of business and industry. And let's face it, education and business are really in the same boat. The baby boomers are getting ready to retire in massive numbers, and we are both going to need a motivated, educated, invigorated workforce that is ready to fill those positions, and there are going to be a lot of them. But before I go further with this idea, I want to tell you a story. Last year, Jamal was a student in my sophomore English class. He was so bright and inquisitive. He led the class discussions, especially when we were studying The Catcher in the Rye. He seemed to really relate to Holden Caulfield, especially when it came to the area of the estranged relationship with his parents. And one day, he told the class that he didn't get along well with his parents either. And I said, "Why, Jamal?" And he said, "Oh, my dad, he's in prison, and my mom, she don't got time for me. She's got 5 other kids at home. So I pretty much do what I want to do." And although he always exhibited this really tough exterior, in that moment I could see there was a wounded boy inside. Towards the end of the school year, I had a chance to talk with Jamal about his plans for the summer because I was worried about him. I knew he had an explosive temper, and I also knew that he hung out with the wrong people. But he said to me, "I gotta be good, I'm on probation." And I said, "For drugs?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said that keeping his job at Wendy's was his priority for the summer and staying out of trouble. So I felt good about that. When August rolled around, I saw him again back at school, and I asked him how he was doing, how was his summer, and he said he was still working at Wendy's and that he had had a good summer, that he had stayed out of trouble. So that was a good thing. In September, it was announced on a Friday afternoon at 2:30 that I was one of the finalists for the State Teacher of the Year. And the first student to rush into my room, give me a big hug, and congratulate me was Jamal. And I was just so touched by that. A week later, Jamal had a run-in of major proportions with a teacher that ended up with a lot of foul language on his part and his storming out of her classroom. And very quickly, because of his age, it was decided that Jamal would get his GED and he would not be returning to school. And in that moment, I knew that was the beginning of the end for him. And it broke my heart. In March, just a couple months ago, I ran into Jamal. And this time it was my turn to give him a big hug. I was so happy to see him. And I said, "Jamal, are you still working at Wendy's?" And he said, "Oh, I ain't been there in a long time." And I said, "Well, what are you doing?" "I ain't doing nothing right now, but my mom's going to try to get me on where she works." And I said, "Oh, Jamal, please use that great brain of yours for something good. You have so much potential. I believe in you." And then I wished him luck, and he went on his way. The next week, a snarky teacher, the one that he had the run-in with, came up to me with her phone out. She said, and she knew I was a supporter of his, and she said, "Did you see your boy Jamal was arrested last night?" And she proceeded to show me on the Northern Regional Jail website his mugshot. He had been arrested for selling drugs to a minor, and my heart broke even more. It makes me a little sad right now. This is just one story in the extreme of one student who has now become a casualty. There are others, hundreds, even thousands throughout the country. And their stories may differ, and they may be more or less extreme, but they all represent the growing problem that's far more than an educational problem. It's a societal problem. In education, our business is selling hope to our students. We do our best to develop their self-efficacy and prepare them for a successful future. Our goal is for students to graduate high school, college, and career ready. Career ready. It's not just lip service. It's our mission. We want to strengthen the pipeline between education and business. The business world knows that a sustainable future requires an educated workforce. We're both stakeholders in this situation. As employers, you know your needs, and you know what skills the employment pool is lacking. When there are not people available to fill your openings, it creates a problem for businesses and for society in general. But you can be part of the solution. The solution lies in the concept or the principle of shared value, which involves creating economic value in a way that also creates value for society by addressing its needs and its challenges. Businesses must reconnect company success with social progress. Creating shared value is a phrase that's been around since early 2011, when there was an article published in the Harvard Business Review that first espoused this concept. But today, I want to put a little spin on the shared value concept that shows how business can benefit when it chooses to invest in education in innovative ways. First, your educational investment portfolio should include some speculative stock. Consider early childhood education to be your speculative stock. Studies show that early educational intervention, especially with those children of poverty, gives them a much better foundation for learning and success in school and in life. I'm asking you to advocate for policies that affect the education of our youngest learners. I am also asking you to consider investing in resources to provide materials for these programs that might not be covered under our schools' tight budgets. Next, consider middle school students to be your growth stock. Here's where your investment in the form of educating students about the potential careers that await them can help them make informed choices about the classes that they need to take to prepare them in college and beyond. There are careers that exist today that did not exist 10 years ago. And with technology changing so rapidly, there will be careers that are ready for them that don't exist today. STEM is more than an acronym. It's a field in need of highly qualified employees. And it's around the middle school age that our girls start to check out of sciences and mathematics. So we're asking you to help break that trend. Come into our schools. Share with our students the careers that you have that await them so that they'll be able to set appropriate educational goals. Additionally, our high school students can become your income stocks. Your investment here can be much more tangible. Our at-risk students need to be able to see the importance of developing a good work ethic, as well as the importance of a good education. I would love to see programs developed where our at-risk students would have opportunities to get jobs in fields that interest them, but have their employment contingent upon their continued acceptable attendance at school. Also, many high school students get to that point not knowing what they want to do with their future, what possibilities even exist for them. It's not unusual for students to near graduation without a clear plan for their future, or for students to enter college thinking they're going to pursue one field of study only to get into it and find out, whoa, that's not what I want to do. And so they have, as a result, prolonged their college attendance. They've incurred greater college debt, and they've increased their risk to drop out of college. I advocate for businesses to provide shadowing opportunities or even internships for students to explore more fully the areas that they're interested in before they potentially waste very precious college funds or their time. I also advocate for businesses, perhaps under the direction of the Chamber of Commerce, to hold a yearly career fair where businesses meet with students to educate them about the types of careers that are available to them and the type of education they have to get those careers. Now, this wouldn't be a job fair. It would be more like a pipeline fair. Educating students about career opportunities will strengthen the pipeline between school and business. Now is the perfect time for business to create a more dynamic investment portfolio by filling it with the stocks I've told you about today. With our West Virginia Next Generation content standards and objectives focus on creating college and career-ready students, our shared value business partners can help us design curricula that will fortify the education to business pipeline. Creating shared value in education will not solve every problem facing our schools and the workforce. Students like my Jamal might still slip through the cracks, but I believe that more of them will be saved. No longer can companies be content to wait at the end of the education pipeline for graduates with the right skills, only to complain when our graduates don't have the skills their business needs. Instead, I'd love to see businesses become a part of the pipeline itself by becoming a catalyst to help build the workforce of the future. Shared value is not philanthropy, nor is it business as usual. Instead, companies create shared value in education when they generate economic value and benefits while simultaneously addressing unmet educational needs. Your bottom line of tomorrow is standing in our lunch line today. Let's continue the conversation we are starting today and work together to have a stable pipeline between stakeholders. It is our shared value. Thank you.